Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're giving you the first half of our Week 12 fantasy football starts and sits. We're here to help you make all the right decisions on who needs to be in your lineup, who you need to sit, and who's going to break your heart if you make the wrong decision, like I did repeatedly the last 2 weeks of my lineups. Let's start this fantasy football podcast right now.
Hit that drop. Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Football Upside. I am Justin. That is Kyle. Thanks for dropping by our Fantasy Football Podcast and YouTube channel. We appreciate it. And today we are giving you the first half of our Start Sit questions for Sunday and Monday games for this Week 12. Definitely check out our top starts, streamers / streamies, and fades episode from yesterday by clicking the link where Kyle's going to point. Also in the description below. One quick note we always want to make sure on this one is make sure that you look at the Thursday game episode for the breakdown of the Baltimore-Pittsburgh game, because we dropped that episode prior to the game being moved to Sunday. So check those out, okay? What do you got for me, Kyle, before we get right into them?
Hey guys, make sure you go ahead and click that subscribe button as well as the bell. That way you are notified every time we upload the podcast. Subscriptions by themselves don't mean anything. You got to click the bell. We upload 5 days a week, and we're trying to help you get to that championship game. We're also always asking, do you need assistance? Because we want to help you out. So throw your questions down below if you have any start-sit questions or anything that goes into deeper analysis than what we're going to put up here on these breakdowns. Let us know what it is. We always try to answer. And like I said last week, make sure that if you're asking a question, do it as early as possible in the week or in the weekend, and we'll try to get to it. If you're dropping a question on Sunday morning before the games start, it's going to be 50-50.
Yeah.
50-50. So make sure you get to it quickly, get to it early. Let's go ahead and get going on these breakdowns. Justin, we have Cleveland at Jacksonville right off the top here. I'll take Cleveland. All right. So Baker Mayfield is a start. That's a little surprising, but yeah, he's a start. It's a great matchup. He's likely to underperform because that's what he does. Why? Because he's in Cleveland and he's a QB. So Baker's going to underperform in a great matchup. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, start them. Both are going to eat. Both are going to do well. Jarvis Landry, will he get double-digit fantasy points this week? I don't know. He seems allergic to it, so I'm not sure. Okay, so here we go.
Write that down.
Rashard Higgins, right? You're on notice right now. This is the week for Rashard Higgins. This is the week that he hits. I'm saying it right now.
Okay.
Assuming that the weather doesn't turn to absolute crap like it has the last two opportunities.
Well,
with
this is
like
in
25 winds. Yeah, at least there's
I
that.
guess it could happen down there. Is it going to be a hurricane coming through?
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. All right. Austin Hooper, you can't really hope for a better matchup. Will it pay off? I mean, you're hoping it will.
Right.
But again, Cleveland offense. So
yeah, so
there's
there's
a little
that.
bit, as much hope as you have, take it back at least one notch. There we go. All right. So what do you got on Jacksonville?
Jacksonville. This is going to be a quick one, Kyle. James Robinson. I mean, he's been a top 5 running back all season. Still going to fire him up.
Quick note. Jake Luton, he's benched.
Oh, I was going to get to that.
Okay. I didn't know if you were throwing that out there.
I will. Absolutely. But also I wanted to mention as well, Myles Garrett looks like he's going to be out for this game. So that might help out a little bit when it comes to James Robinson. And then wide receiver, I'm still going to start DJ Chark. You're starting based on his talent of DJ Chark, but who knows what this is going to look like, because it is Mike Glennon is going to be the starter at quarterback that they did sit Jake Luton after 4 interceptions. Why would you sit him after 4 interceptions? I don't get it. I don't understand why. It's sad whenever Gardner Minshew could be a savior on this team to actually get him another win. I mean, they're going to win. They're probably going to win the first game of the season and the last game. That's about it. But hey, man, that's all I got for Jacksonville.
That's all. There you go.
So up next, we have the Tennessee Titans versus the Indianapolis Colts. Kyle, why don't you go ahead and hit me with the Titans?
Sure. Tannehill. He could be started in Superflex and 2 QB leagues at best this week. Don't do much more than that. Do not put him in your starting lineup. If you are in a 12-man team, single QB, or 12-man league with single QB and it's redraft, keep Tannehill out of the lineup there.
Yep.
Derrick Henry, don't expect a ton, but you can start him. You need to start him. You're going to start him. This might be his worst game of the rest of the season, though. Okay, not his worst game overall, but his worst game of the rest of the season. AJ Brown, this is not a good spot, but hey, he has no competition for targets really to speak of. He's done better the last couple of weeks.
Yep.
So he's worth starting, I think. Jonnu Smith, this is a tough matchup for a guy who's struggled lately. I am saying you can start him. He has failed really to show up much of the year, but you might not have a better option this week. I don't really know. If
He's
you got
getting the
Jonnu
touchdowns,
Smith,
man. Yeah, he's getting the touchdowns. It's just there's not been.
Are they going to get
else.
down there? Yeah, are they going to get down there and
Yeah.
make it available? I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I am. What do you have on Indy?
Indianapolis Colts. Jonathan Taylor, welcome back. I mean, he's been there the whole time. It's just welcome back to relevancy when it comes to fantasy football. So I would say fire him up in your flex. I mean, he showed some good promise against the Packers last week. He ran with some authority. I think they're still gonna run with the hot hand, is what their mentality has been preaching by Frank Reich these last few weeks. So something I know
So
it
dumb.
really hates. You really hate that for fantasy football reasons.
You just hate it, period. It's so stupid. Nobody gets a hot hand if every third play they're out of the game.
It doesn't make any sense. I know. But I just got to go with what they're saying and what they're doing. But Nyheim Hines with that is, I would still say a start in PPR as a flex player. So, but other than that, wide receiver, fire up Michael Pittman Jr. Yeah, I mean, he's a wide receiver 3 moving forward. I think the targets are just going to continue to increase. And if you're in a pinch on a 2 QB, but here's the thing, we have all the games going. All teams are playing this week. I still don't know if he shows value in a 2 QB. So if you can avoid it, I would say that. But that's all I got for my Colts, man.
All right, let's move on here. We got Giants at Cincinnati. I'll take Giants off the top here. We've got Daniel Jones. You can start him.
Yep.
This is a streaming option. I wouldn't expect a whole lot. I think at best you're going to get back into QB1. That's what you're hopeful for with that. But he does provide a decent baseline. Again, this is really only an option or a need situation where you've lost a QB and the waiver wire is super thin, so you grab Daniel Jones. That's about the best you could hope for, probably coming off the waiver wire. So you might already be in a pinch because you lost somebody like Burrow or somebody else.
Yeah.
That would be the only reason to throw Daniel Jones out there. Wayne Gallman, for me, is kind of a flex. I keep seeing a lot of noise about him on Twitter, and I'm just like, no, it's not a great spot, guys. Like, he's in a smash spot. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's a backup going against like the 10th worst fantasy football running back defense. It's not a smash spot for even like most running backs who are good. This dude's a backup to the backup to the backup. Like, this is not the right situation. So at best, you're looking at a flex because he's got volume. Sterling Shepard, I would say you could safely start. He has been the target there. Darius Slayton, what's happening with him? Right?
I don't know, man.
You need to see a lot more out of him. He's just kind of flash in the pan, kind of gone thing. We're looking at
probably going to be the same thing on your next guy here coming up.
Same
story.
Well, yeah. Honestly, like both these guys, you would think maybe Adam Gase got hired or they're calling Adam Gase plays in just both New York teams at this point because, Evan Ingram, you hope you manage to grab a better option along the way this year. You really do because he's got all that athletic talent, all that promise. Seems to have got Gased at some point. Don't know what happened there. So, all right, let's move on to what do you have? You've got the Bengals. Yeah.
Yep.
I couldn't tell just off the top because we don't have the team name, but then it's got Brandon Allen at the top, and I was like, oh, that's really confusing because I don't know who that is.
And I went ahead and took Joe Burrow out of the top spot here when it comes to talking about running backs because good old Brandon Allen, come on down. Yeah, QBs. Thank you very much. But I wasn't even going to talk about this guy, but Brandon Allen.
You don't have to
start him.
You don't have to.
All right, but we kind of mentioned this in the last episode. Giovanni Bernard was placed in the concussion protocol on Wednesday. That's not a good sign for his chances to play Sunday, so you're going to have to keep an eye on this. If he plays, you start him. But if you are very, very, very desperate, I mean, we're talking desperate at running back, Samaje Perine might be a guy that you might want to add and go ahead and throw him in as your flex. I mean, this is a rough offense, but just kind of like what you're talking about Wayne Gallman. He's not that good.
No.
But he's going to have volume. So there's somewhat of an opportunity. So that's why I'm saying, like, if you're in a real pinch and you are desperate, look out for this guy because he's probably out there. He's probably rostered in, I don't know, under 3%. But when it comes to wide receivers, boy, with Joe Burrow going down and now Brandon Allen come on down because they already benched Ryan Finley after half of a performance. Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins, man, I still would say start because they're gonna have to throw it.
Did you say anti Higgins or
T. Higgins?
Anti Higgins.
I just roll right into it.
All one word the whole time.
One word. Didn't bring your truck, which did you? But so Tyler Boyd's a wide receiver 3, and I think it's going to be the same for T. Higgins going throughout the rest of the season. I mean, if you have better options for either of these players that you have on your team, I would possibly look into that. I'm not even, AJ Green's a sit because he's 3rd in the pecking order, in my opinion.
All right. Okay, let's move on here. We've got the LA Chargers versus the Buffalo Bills.
Yep.
I'll take the Chargers. We've got Justin Herbert. He's carried you this far.
Yeah, yes.
Austin Eckler, is he back this week? They're talking about it.
Possibly.
He's putting videos on social media, which, that's proof, right? So make sure you're paying attention to the news. Keep your ear to the ground on Eckler because Lord knows you're not starting Kalen Ballage. Keenan Allen, what's the over? Wait. I know here. Let me phrase this the correct way, Justin. Okay. What's the over under on targets for Keenan Allen this week?
10.5.
10.5. Trick question. Doesn't matter. He's still only going to get you 80 yards and maybe a TD. So boom, there you go. Doesn't matter what his targets are. He gets 80 yards.
He just stops there.
Yeah, he gets 80 yards and maybe a TD. There you go. Mike Williams is also a start along with Keenan Allen. I will start both of those guys. But that's it.
Good.
That's all I got. Yeah.
See what you did there.
Yeah.
You funny
all right.
son of a gun, you.
Buffalo.
All right, Josh Allen. This is looking like a possible top 5 play. He made my starts of the week. Definitely check out that episode from yesterday down in the description below. So, but when it comes to running backs, I'm sitting both of them. Wide receivers, Stephon Diggs, come on down, man. That's all I got to say about Stephon Diggs. John Brown is a guy to keep an eye on. He's not practicing with an ankle injury. That's not good coming off a bye week. The guy's still not practicing with the ankle injury. And I believe that's the same injury that he had previously.
Earlier this year they got Gabriel Davis playtime.
Yep. So, I mean, if John Brown plays, I would say start him because he is getting targets when he's on the field now. But if he does sit, I think Cole Beasley's the guy. Because Gabriel Davis did flash a little bit, but Cole Beasley, man, he put up some good games whenever John Brown's been out recently. So that would be the guy that if John Brown sits, I would feel comfortable starting Cole Beasley, especially in a PPR.
I would say Beasley is possibly a PPR play regardless.
Of
whether or not John Brown's out there. He's been getting volume. So
he has that. Yep. Absolutely.
All right, let's move on here. We got Las Vegas at Atlanta.
Yep.
Let's see. Derek Carr should show up this week like he has recently. That's good. You're looking for him to return to his early season form, though, where he was putting up around 300 yards, just less than that, and 2 touchdowns to 3 touchdowns, somewhere in that range. Josh Jacobs, reliable, right? Fire him up. You're going to get a little bit out of him there. Henry Ruggs, you can kind of flex him. Nelson Aguilar, you can kind of flex him too. The two of them are doing all right. I wouldn't rely on them for much more. I want to say that, I had Burrow in our league and I threw him in my IR. I want to say I picked up Aguilar. I think that's who I picked up just on a you never know. He's not going to break my lineup right now. He's not going to break into it right now, but you never know what's going to happen. So Darren Waller, he's a start. This is a great matchup. Actually, this is a pretty good matchup this week. I think he's got potential to be a top 5 tight end this weekend. So that's where I'm at. What do you got on Atlanta?
Matt Ryan, I would say start him if both Julio and Calvin Ridley plays. I would also make other arrangements if one of them sits. And that's just based off of what's happened this year. So Julio was out for majority of the second half of Week 11's game, but he is practicing on a limited basis so far for this upcoming matchup. So that's a good sign for someone with a hamstring issue. He usually just sits and don't want to push it, but he was on a limited fashion. Calvin Ridley, welcome back. 9 targets in his first week back from that foot injury. So I think he's a wide receiver 1 moving forward like he was at the beginning of the season.
Yep.
When it comes to running backs, I look at Todd Gurley as a flex play only.
He's out.
Gurley's out?
He's missing time. I think he might have been declared out.
Really?
Midweek injury or something like that. So
okay.
So run and grab Brian Hill.
Brian Hill is backup to add. Yeah. It's not Ito Smith, it's Brian Hill. Mm-hmm. And that was actually one of the reasons why I was fading Todd Gurley so much, is because Brian Hill out-snapped Todd Gurley in week 11. And the Raiders are giving up the 4th most points to opposing running backs. So this is something, if he's out there, everybody.
He's out of practice. He's been out, did not practice, knee injury. So you got to keep your ear to the ground, because he does have, he does have geriatric knees. He's like the oldest 28-year-old ever.
It's one of those things where definitely you want to look at the Thursday and Friday practice participation. If he's on a limited basis on Thursday or Friday, he has a good chance of starting and playing. If he's out for either Thursday or Friday, that's not a good sign, everybody.
It's just that, like, how late in the week he's been limited or out, rather, is not usual, like, veteran day of rest kind of thing.
Yeah. Absolutely. And my last thing to note here, Hayden Hurst, this is going to sound a little weird, but I think we've mentioned this before.
Mm-hmm.
I would sit if Julio Jones does not play.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start Hayden Hurst if Julio Jones plays. And this is just based off the numbers. I mean, whenever Julio's in the lineup, he just makes everybody else around him better. Usually say that about quarterbacks, but that's not the case in this one. It's Julio Jones. If he starts and plays, usually have a better matchup for the tight end Hayden Hurst.
Yep.
That's
high tide. He's high tide. He raises all boats.
Yep.
All right. Last matchup for the day. We've got San Francisco at the LA Rams.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take San Fran. Let's see here. I think it's Nick Mullins still.
Yeah, it is.
Don't start him. Raheem Mostert. There's a chance he's going to play. It looks like it. Possibly is going to happen. If he's back, you start him, but this is a tough matchup, and he probably would be on a pitch count. So I don't know. I would hope that you have more depth or better options this week. Maybe next week would be a better time. Deebo Samuel, it looks like he's possibly going to play. And so they're leaning that way. Wait. Deebo! You start him if he plays, right? You're going to start him if he plays, because really there's not a whole lot of options in this offense. So you've got a healthy guy who has been solid in the past.
Yeah.
And then his clone, Brandon Ayuk, you can go ahead and start him too.
Yep.
That's it. That's all I got there. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
all right. For the Rams, Jared Goff is a 2 QB or super flex play only, in my opinion. And when it comes to running backs, I'm going to sit them all, because this is a 3-man committee, everybody.
I would say Akers it's starting to fall towards Akers a little bit.
It was 33%, 33% last week. So it may go up a little bit. So if he's available out there, maybe if you have a spot on your bench, definitely check out week 12, because we're getting really close to the playoffs for fantasy football. If it's ticking up, maybe put him on there, and let's see if it happens towards the end of the season. But other than that, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, you're going to start them because they're freaking studs, man. 10+ targets last game. They're probably going to get the same, even though this is a tough matchup against the San Francisco 49ers. It's not as tough as it once was.
Yeah.
But still, you're not going to sit either of those guys.
No.
That's who I have for the Rams, man.
Yep. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. We'll give you the second half of our start-sit matchups in the next episode. Yep. But feel free to go ahead and check out the episodes that we throw on the screen right now, which are going to be probably waiver wire, as well as the top start streamers and fades. Make sure you also hit that subscribe button as well as the bell, so that you're notified every time we upload the podcast. We'll see you tomorrow when we upload the second half of our breakdown. Thanks for being a fan of the Upside. Bye.
See ya.